As entrepreneurs, I think that one of the most important things that we've learned has been about association, associating with the right people, and maybe also cutting off certain relationships, being deliberate about which relationships to cut off. And so maybe I can explain it this way. It's very much like being an eagle and you are surrounded by chickens. Without meaning to sound unfair to the chicken, eagles and chickens don't mix. And so if you're an eagle, then you shouldn't be in the midst of chickens. If you're in the midst of chickens, no matter how much you care about those chickens, they're going to keep slowing you down, they will keep weighing you down, and you will never reach your true potential. You know why? Because eagles are very different from chickens. Eagles are meant to fly. Chickens are not really made for flight. The best they can do is fly very short distances. So there is that difference. There's the fact that eagles are made to be very big. Chickens are, the biggest of chickens is still very small compared to an eagle. There's also the fact that chickens eat whatever they see. They eat whatever is on the ground. They eat whatever is in front of them. Chickens keep eating. Chickens cannot delay gratification. Chickens have to eat. They keep eating. But eagles don't do that. Eagles eat only at certain heights. Eagles eat on high rocks. Eagles fly very high distances, and they fly for very long distances as well, to be able to find what to eat. So eagles are not careless. They are very much unlike chickens. In fact, I think that's another very important difference, is that when chickens are born or when they are hatched, chickens, you would find them enjoying all the comforts. The mother hen takes care of the chick. If you have chickens, maybe if you are a farmer and you're raising them for the market, you brood, you allow that chick to go through brooding. You provide a very comfortable environment, and to a good extent you maintain that comfortable environment all through. You give the chicken as much comfort as it needs so that it can keep laying eggs for you. Eagles don't do that. When the eaglet is hatched, it gets some comfort, but as soon as it begins to mature, you know what the mother eagle does? The mother eagle begins to kick it out. It begins to stir the nest, begins to make the nest very uncomfortable for the eaglet. And after some time, the mother eagle begins to push out the eaglet. So you see eaglets growing up in discomfort. And what that discomfort does to them is that it helps them to fly. Because after it gets to a level, they become uncomfortable staying in the nest with their mother. They begin to look for ways to express themselves better. The eagle has one big secret. It knows how to ride on the wind. So when there is a storm, when there is discomfort all around, when every other person is complaining, when every other bird is looking for cover, the eagle goes right into the storm and then begins to ride above it, because the eagle is soaring on the wind. You see, right now, COVID-19 is a wind. And SARS, at least the economic implications of things like that, those are winds. Real eagles might initially experience some discomfort, but as a real eagle, you can learn how to master the wind and how to soar above it. Why? Because you're an eagle and not a chicken. The last point that I think I should make about eagles and chickens is, you just look at them. Look at the way chickens communicate. They are always talking. Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo. They are always chattering up and down, and that is all they do. They chatter and then they eat. They eat anything from stones to earthworms to even their own excrement. They are eating and they are chattering. Many people are like that. They are always talking about their employer. They are always complaining about their boss. They are always talking about other members of staff. They are always gossiping. They are chattering like chickens. You see, when you meet people like that, run away from them. You know why? Because they are chickens. They are destined for the pot. They cannot be successful. They do not have what it takes to fly. People who truly fly don't have the time to be chattering up and down. People who truly fly cannot eat just anything. People who truly fly cannot accept just any kind of information and do not live their lives carelessly. Being an eagle is a very strategic and a very deliberate process, and it is also a process of association, because you must remember, eagles and chickens don't mix. If you truly are an eagle, COVID-19 is not an excuse. The state of Nigeria is not your excuse. You spread out your wings and fly.
And I love the analogy of the chicken and the eagle, because I think that for us, one of the critical things that we learned was that certain people had to be weeded out for us to be established. And that said, your association is everything. See, the truth is, you can't be going in direction A and you need to take route 1, and then you're in the same cab with someone going in direction Z and they need to take route 20. It's not going to happen. Both of you are not going to arrive at your destination. So it's better that you're in the right vehicle with the right set of people. And association it goes beyond, the people that look up to you. There's also association on the same level, people that are your peers, your colleagues, association with those who have gone ahead of you, parents, mentors, coaches, all those people. Find your rhythm, find your association, know the people that you need in your space. And if a person's time has expired in your space, feel free to let them go. 2020 was a tough year. You see, you don't know your friends in good times. Though. I know it is when the storms come and the nest is shaking. That is when you know who your people are, because your people will stay with you in spite of the storm. Your people will encourage you. Your people will remember you. But you see, wealth has many friends. When there are no storms, when there are no storms and everything is going well and you're looking all good and happy, everybody wants to flock around you. But you see, you must not be foolish. That was one of the things we learned. We learned how not to be foolish. If people have shown you that in your stormy seasons, they are not loyal or committed to you, don't out of sentiments, drag them along into the promised land. In fact, now that I mentioned the promised land, why did Moses not enter into the promised land association?
He was carrying chickens. He was an eagle who was trying too hard to carry chickens into the promised land. And even God had left the chickens alone. I mean, he didn't abandon them, but he had decided that those chickens were not going to enter the promised land. So why did he carry their matter beyond God
himself,
such that he ended up also not entering into the promised land himself?
And that is so instructive, because many people have missed their promised lands because of the chickens.
Yes, they are too busy associating with people who don't have their best interests at heart. You see, as much as it is good to try to, you do your best for people, you try your best to even maybe change them if they are not showing some of the signs that you think are essential for success, you do your best for them. However, there comes a stage where you have to realize that people they are entitled to their own choices. Exactly. And the people who refuse to be on, the same wavelength with you are going to drag you down. So I think that maybe one of the biggest lessons that we learned in the year 2020 was that lesson of not being sentimental about friends, not being sentimental about people around us, even people in our workspace, yes, people in our environment, employees, our people, not being sentimental. Because if people are dragging you down and you keep allowing them to drag you down, then after some time you're going to be on the ground. So
And
maybe you need to free
cannot blame
yourself.
anybody for that.
Yes,
Because
it will be your
ultimately,
fault.
Exactly.
You are the driver of your own life. So don't keep dragging yourself down with sentiments. This person is my brother's cousin's friend. But no. Forget the sentiments. When it is time to move forward, any weights that are holding you back, cut them off.